Welcome back to College Football Addiction. We check in with him weekly. Drake C. Toll, Locked On Big 12, our video presented by BetUS. Drake, let's take just a moment and celebrate, commiserate, whatever you want to call it. The Big 12, I don't know why conferences do this. I don't know why the Big 12 and the ACC wait so freaking long to get schedules out. The SEC and the Big 10, I hate to give all the power to all the love here, but their fans are able to plan trips. It's not just a complaint about we don't know the fastest. It's, man, I want to go to Boulder. I want to go to Clemson, South Carolina. I want to go to some of these games, and you don't know about it until February rolls around. The Big 12, the last of the Power Four to put their schedule out today. If you're watching this, then yesterday. But let's talk about the schedule just a little bit. Any high-level takeaways?
Congregate, commiserate, anything but consummate with this Big 12 schedule because I hate it. And the reason I hate it is partially because they released this thing so late. I've been pessimistic about it. I think there are ways to fix it. Where I've gotten in the first 24 hours of reactions is now I've gone from the stage of grieving where I'm just mad at everybody and everything, and I'm starting to accept that this is what the schedule is and that there will be ways or could be ways in the future to fix it. And that the first takeaway most Big 12 fans are not very happy with is the lack of a rivalry week. I keep mentioning this. It is appalling that the Big 12 has effectively said publicly, we're not cool enough. We don't have the brand power enough to have a rivalry week. To wave the white flag there is, to me, asinine, considering the product that BYU and Utah gave you last year, the product that Iowa State and Kansas State gave you, yet you're going to move that one, or the products that even some of these new budding rivalries like Colorado against the world or Utah against the world could bring you in this league. We don't get to see any of those on the last weekend of the year, except for Arizona State, which is one of the most boring because those two teams are so different on the scale of good to bad in Big 12 play, right? We don't need to see BYU and UCF on the last game of the year in Big 12 play. That, to me, is a major loss to this conference. So how do we fix the schedule? Number one, we release it on December 20th, which is a lot more palatable. December is a fun month for everybody. And now, hey, Merry Christmas, we're going to homecoming. Not Merry Christmas, we're going to homecoming. We'll find out in 2 months who we're actually going to play that game. That is where, or we'll find out where the homecoming actually is. That is where the Big 12 can fix this. They can also give a rivalry week and have more protected rivals. The fact we're not seeing Baylor and Texas Tech for the first time since the Eisenhower administration is pitiful. There's no reason to not have these matchups. Well, we want to acclimate everybody by letting them play each other, is what Brett Yormark has alluded to in the past. Who gives a rat's butt? I let them play every 3 years. We don't have to be best friends with Houston and play them every other year just because. To me, the Big 12 in the SEC, there'd be 6-year gaps between where Alabama played Vanderbilt based on the East and the West. And everybody would complain that Bama never got Vanderbilt or Bama always got Vanderbilt or however you wanted to spin that. In the Big 12, we don't have to coddle each other and hold hands. Let Baylor and Texas Tech play. Let Iowa State and Kansas State play. Let some of these budding rivalries go year in and year out. I don't see a year where Iowa State should not have a Kansas on the schedule. I'm mad at the Big 12. I've come to terms with it, and now I'm in the mode where I just want to fix everything.
The 5 stages. We've surpassed all of them.
And we're just 5? Is it only 5? I've been there 7 so far.
We're just to fix it at this point. No, I agree. You talk about the Big 12. I hate the way the ACC does it too. They make a spectacle of it. Tune in live to watch it. The Big 12 put it at 11 a.m. Eastern time. 10 their time. More Big 12 teams in that. Nobody. People are working. People are doing stuff. The ACC puts it on at 9 o'clock at night, and I'm just like, guys, this is what you're doing to get some. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And then again, just the timing of it. I think the SEC's comes out in October. I think it's while the season is going. I could be wrong on that. It's October or November. It's certainly before the end of the year. And just the fact that we have to wait. And then, everybody complains about schedules coming out, right? The Big Ten, they complain about it too because there aren't enough big premier matchups this year because they didn't want a repeat of last year. The SEC is complaining because it's just lazy. It's the same as last year's, just flip-flopped home and away. Had the Big 12 just done that, had they just flip-flopped last year's home and away, fine. That's fine, right? It's lazy, but that's fine. We got a pretty good year this year. So I'll rail on my conference too a little bit. Get ready for a rush with the BetUS Casino. We've told you about the sports side a ton, but they have promotions and tournaments that make every play even more rewarding. Sign up now and experience the difference. Get your bonus, a 200% sign-up bonus up to $5,000. $5,000 and a 250% crypto bonus up to $5,000 right now at the BetUS Casino.
Yeah, there's the excitement of playing BYU in Provo in the next year to get to host those fans and to see and experience a game day at Rice Eccles Stadium at Utah or at Folsom Field in Boulder. Then the next year get to have those fans come to your stadium in the Bounce House or at, in my opinion, one of the most underrated venues in America in West Virginia and enjoy a weekend in Morgantown. Bouncing those back and forth would be great. That's how you build camaraderie. You want to just get everybody together and have a big powwow. Let's all learn to be friends. Do it that way. Don't do it in this hodgepodge mixture where you're killing off major rivalries in this conference. To me, it's a scared way of doing things. And Brett Yormark usually isn't scared. He's a good businessman. I think he's just waving the white flag a little bit too much here, saying we're going to stay away from Alabama, Auburn. We're going to stay away from Michigan and Ohio State. We're going to do our own rivalries sporadically. And I don't think that does a very solid service to the Big 12 conference.
Yeah, don't love it. On the actual schedules, let's talk a little bit about those. Who has it the toughest looking at these schedules? Who maybe got off a little bit easy? Give me some thoughts on both sides of that.
Yeah, I know BYU fans weren't very happy. I've mentioned it before. I mentioned it again plenty of times. I'm sure they go 2 home games in 70 days at one point pretty early on in the schedule based on how their non-conference and bye weeks work out. I believe that Baylor actually comes away with the toughest Big 12 schedule there is. BYU has the easiest, in my opinion. The reason being is BYU gets a pretty soft landing with Colorado, West Virginia, Arizona, Utah. They should be favored in all of those games to start. Then Iowa State, Texas Tech with a bye week in between. Both those on the road. They're the toughest games of the season for BYU, but you get that bye game in between and a soft-ish welcome into conference play. Then TCU, Cincinnati, UCF to close it out. I think BYU, for what the schedule is, got off fairly easy. For Baylor, on the other hand, and there are a couple teams who are in the category of Big 12 didn't do you any favors, but how about the Bears playing Arizona State to open Big 12 play, going on the road against Oklahoma State, who should be improved, then getting Kansas State. Those are 2 of the top 3 preseason teams in the Big 12. Then going on the road against TCU, who will be much improved. You get UCF, Cincinnati, and the 2 games past that, which are fairly easy. That Utah game shouldn't be terrible. At Arizona's not bad. Houston at home's not bad. But the problem with Baylor is they could very easily find themselves below 500, 3-4, and finishing 8-4, which is something similar to what they did this past season by virtue of Auburn and SMU being on their non-conference slate. I love the back end for the Bears. Hate how it starts for them. BYU, to me, has it easiest, and Baylor has it the toughest right now.
Drake, where can people follow you? Where can they get more of your content? I know you will talk more about schedules, more about all things Big 12. The football season never sleeps. Where can they find it?
Yeah. At LO Big 12, at Drake C. Toll on Twitter, and wherever you find your podcasts and YouTube with Locked On Big 12.
Thanks, buddy.
Anytime.